Welcome to Keeping It Real 603 Stories,
the podcast that pulls back the curtain on the people shaping the heart of the 603.
Each month, we sit down with local business owners, creators, and changemakers right here in the heart of the 603.
from Main Street to the Merrimack River,
The Seacoast and the Lakes region,
We explore the real stories,
the hustle,
the heart,
the setbacks,
and the breakthroughs that make this community thrive.
no filters.
no fluff.
Just honest conversations with the folks who keep our communities moving forward.
So grab a cup of coffee from your favorite local spot.
Settle in.
And let's keep it real.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Welcome to the first episode of Keeping It Real, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
So let's go down the line and let's have us introduce ourselves. If you guys can let us know your names and maybe where you live and who you are to each other. Who's going first?
Who wants to start?
I'll start. Hi, I'm Katie. I live in Samberton, New Hampshire. Used to live in Manchester. And I met Shannon back when we did, like a real estate course. And we just hit it off and was super excited to join this team and to be part of this group. And I met Kyle. I feel like we met a year ago.
You'd know better than me.
It was a year ago. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
We haven't looked back.
Okay, Kyle, take it away from there.
I am Kyle Pettit, the shortest one in the group. I am born and raised in Hooksett, moved back to Hooksett finally 2 years ago. Met Shannon. Shannon cold called me, asked me to be part of Real 603. And, no, I'm just kidding. Met her through some family friends and obviously the area. And I haven't looked back as well.
Yeah.
Excited to be here and keep it going.
Cool.
Awesome. I'm Shannon Mounsey. I live in Concord, basically grew up here, not that far from here, about 10 minutes up the road in Hopkinton. Let's see. I think I met Kyle first. I met Kyle first. Like you said, through family friends. And we had coffee a couple of times.
I don't believe it.
And then fortunately, coffee, unheard of. It was probably your first cup of coffee that day. And
Highly
then
doubtful.
shortly thereafter, we started working together. Katie, I think I met you like shortly thereafter, like you said. We were sitting across the table from each other at a real estate course, and I could just read your mind.
Yeah, you could.
I really could.
You
from
could.
across the table. I was like, yeah, we are not meant to be here.
No.
Say, what did you read?
No.
But anyways, we saw it through and here we are together. Yeah.
Cool.
All meant to be.
Yeah, awesome. So people listening might be like, who are these people and what is this and what am I watching? So first of all, can somebody talk about what is Real 603? What brings these three people here together?
Sure. So Real 603 is the name of our team. It's kind of our space. It's our community. Professionally speaking, we are realtors. So our day-to-day involves a lot of interactions, phone calls, meeting, just conversations with people who are, looking to buy, looking to sell, looking to invest, wanting to know a little bit more about what it looks like to live here in New Hampshire, the differences between all of our communities. I think that's a lot of what we do.
Yeah, and I think about this, it's when people are buying and selling, it's a community piece. They're buying into a community. So I think that's a big portion of it, why we want to bring people together and showcase some of the community aspects that we have.
And I feel like most of us have lived here for quite some time. I know that I grew up here. I grew up in Goffstown, New Hampshire, and lived in Manchester and then moved to Samberton. So I've seen a lot of the state. And so it's all about bringing education to people as well. And, if no one has lived here in the past, it's just so exciting to connect people to that type of community that they would love to be a part of.
Totally. Yeah, and so Real 603 is part real estate team, and it's also part lifestyle, brand. And I know that that's something that has been a focus of the year. So can we talk a little bit about like this podcast now, keeping it real, the goals of it, and how that fits into that kind of broader goal?
Want me to jump in?
Yeah.
So I think something that, I have come to realize is by having our little spot here, right, like tucked here, like right in the heart of our capital, is we get to have a really interesting sort of bird's eye view of all of sort of like the day-to-day, just interactions, but the people, the routines, everyone that kind of plays a part in making this community come to life. And it's really has made me appreciate just all of the different people that we have here. So, it's easy to take for granted, like when we go up the street and we grab a hot dog I've called her the hot dog lady my whole life, but she does have a name. Her name's Gretchen. And, not really thinking about, what goes into what she has done to create, that thriving business that she has there. And I think the same could be said for everybody, behind each of the doors kind of through our city here. So our goal is just to really kind of, connect and get to know all of those people.
Yeah.
Ladies first.
I think it's really, when I got started in real estate, it's all just about being an extrovert and meeting people, and you come into contact with like the heartbeat of different communities in the region, and you start to really travel and you start to really meet different types of people, like artisans or CEOs or chefs or all of these people, and you start to realize, wow, every single person, like Shannon said, has this incredible story of where they started and where they came from. And I feel like that's us too, because this wasn't one of our first careers. We kind of like transitioned into this, and I feel like the impetus of this is to kind of go back and see, what were some of the failures, or what were some of the struggles, or what were some of the things that they want to bring meaning to in the community. And that's what we want to put a spotlight on.
Yeah, and I think like with Concord, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like it's always evolving too.
Yeah.
I think New Hampshire as a whole is, more and more people are being attracted to here, which is obviously helping the economy and help grow and create new establishments like restaurants and coffee shops or whatnot. But, I think that's helping, a lot of people don't know about that stuff. So why not utilize it and be able to share those places with some of the people and our followers.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even say, I think that's part of what makes living here so great, is like when you think about all these little towns and communities, is that each one kind of has their own identity and rhythm. And how lucky we are that we can jump in our car and within 30 minutes we can be in a totally different space and experience a different restaurant scene, maybe a different theater scene. A Saturday morning in one town or city might feel and look totally different than one someplace else, which I think is just one of the great aspects about being here.
Yeah, and some of the new places that are coming about, they're founded by people that are been here for years. So not only are they new, but they're still bringing that aspect of community here that I think is good for people to see.
Yeah, totally. It's like, where it feels to me like I never know quite how to explain it, but there's like a spirit of New Hampshire that's unique from anywhere else. And it feels to me like part of the purpose of doing this is to kind of like start to crack away at what that spirit is, and to hear in the words of the people who've lived here and worked here and built lives and businesses here, to hear their stories and to get to understand what the spirit of this place is that makes it unique. And so we don't have any guests with us here today, but today is about getting to know you guys. So one of the questions that we're wanting to ask when we do eventually have guests, but that I want to ask you now, is how did you get to New Hampshire, which we've touched on a little bit, but then why do you stay? Why do you continue to stay every day? We heart NH. So tell us a little bit about why.
I think it's really difficult right now to stay in New Hampshire because it is so cold and there's snow on the ground. I'm just kidding. You know, I'm not really a skier, but I know all of you skiers out there really love that. No, one of the reasons why I stay is because, you know, I've lived elsewhere and I always come back to New Hampshire because of the fact that it has so much variety. It has so much character. I can still do the artistic things that I want to do. I can still be a part of something. It doesn't have to be New York City. It doesn't have to be LA. Like if I want to perform in a theatrical production, I can do that here. There's like an amazing blossoming downtown in the Concord area, but there's also, if I need nature, which I definitely do, you know, there's the beach and there's, you know, all of these places that you can go that fit your mood for that moment in time. And that's what we're sort of building here in New Hampshire. I feel like it's just about moments.
It's funny because growing up, I did not envision myself staying here. I thought I was definitely a city girl and I'd be in the city someplace. I met my husband and he is 110% a New Hampshire boy. And I quickly knew if I was going to marry him, I would be staying here. So I accepted that. And I'm really glad that I did. I'm so grateful that I get to live here. You know, there's so many times like in the summer, we spend a lot of time on Lake Winnipesaukee as a family. It's where I grew up as a kid. And now, you know, I have the benefit, the privilege of, you know, being able to share that with my kids. And there's so many times throughout, you know, the middle of the day where I just look around and I'm thinking, we are so lucky to live here. I cannot imagine a more beautiful place. And I never take it for granted. And it never gets old.
Yeah, I think we're lucky to go off that. I'm, you know, having traveled and lived in different spots around the country in my previous job, I think it's, you know, coming back here is special because you don't have to be an outdoorsy person. You know, it helps, obviously, but I think for my standpoint, you take advantage of the nicer months. I feel like it gets a little shorter every year, but, you know, also I think the winter builds your little tough skin and whatnot, so it gives you something to look forward to in the future. But, you know, I think it's, I don't know, New England's a special place, you know, through and through, and, you know, has a lot to offer. Everybody talks about the beach, the mountains, the lakes. Boston's an hour away, you know, but I think there's a lot more that it offers, the small, tight-knit communities, and just, you know, if you're from here, it's obviously a little biased in the speak, but, I mean, I love it. My wife is the reason why we're back here. I say that, but no, I probably would be back here no matter what, so.
Yeah, totally. It's funny because earlier we were like kind of joking about how like all the best things in life are earned, but I actually do kind of think that that's like a lived spirit every day as a New Englander, and I think it's because of these hard winters. Honestly, we've had a particularly like hard and fast December. It came on cold and it came on snowy after a hot fall, so there's been like a whiplash of this winter, which has been funny. But I saw an Instagram reel this morning of actually a British immigrant living in Boston talking about why New England is like one of the best places to live, and it's actually because of the challenging winter months, because I think it gives you like both a perseverance, but also like an appreciation for these small moments like you're talking about, Katie. And I do love this notion that's arising of like there's something about, it's not like feeling like a big fish in a small pond, but there's something about New Hampshire that's like all of these like small, like unique moment, little experiences that you get to kind of string together and like build up your life that way, instead of these like, you know, cities. Sometimes it's like moment to moment to moment. It's like there's this rush. Yeah. New Hampshire kind of invites you to like slow down and like take in the little moments of every day, I think.
Feels a little more meaningful.
Totally.
That way.
Yeah. I had a friend who lived in LA for a really long time, and I said, "Oh my God, you're crazy. Why'd you come back here?" And he was like, there was sun all the time. Every single day was sunny. It was 80 degrees and sunny. And he's like, I just didn't appreciate it. But when I come back to New Hampshire and I have these crazy winters and it's freezing cold, he was like, I now appreciate the summer. I appreciate the spring. I love the fall and the changing leaves and the color. The seasons make you appreciate, you know, to your point, like this place.
Yeah, it's like there's like dimension, there's dynamicism to living here instead of this like sort of every day being the same. Shout out LA.
I love LA. Listen, I'll go there
Shout
right
out
now,
California.
okay?
It's a good place to visit.
For real, it's a great place to visit.
Yeah, but there's something dynamic about even just a day in New Hampshire. The morning can be totally different than the afternoon, than the night.
Totally.
It can change so fast, and that keeps you, I think it keeps you alive, and it does keep you full of meaning, I think.
I think COVID helped a ton too. Like, you know, obviously the negative of it, but you know, more people are getting out and about now.
Yeah.
You know, again, you don't have to be an outdoorsy person in New Hampshire by no means, but I think, you know, people didn't want to be in their house, so now they're traveling up north. They're sightseeing in the fall, seeing, you know, our traffic is awful in the fall. It feels like it's getting later every year, but, you know, I think that helps a ton because now more people are utilizing what New Hampshire has to offer.
Yeah. That's a great point, yeah. And so thinking about, like, getting out, you know, and, like, experiencing New Hampshire, experiencing this city, we're in Concord right now, I would love to know from each of you, what are, like, let's give some shout-outs, like, some staples, some Concord staples that are just, like, some of your favorite places to, like, spend a morning or an afternoon or grab a bite.
I'll go first. I love Gibson's bookstore because it's one of the largest, actually I think it's the largest independent bookstore, and it's right on Main Street in Concord, and it's awesome because I go there, I get a coffee, I browse, I look at books, and it's not your typical bookstore because you can find different types of books there, and there's always really cool, awesome employees there too to have conversations with, and they're immersed in their product as well. I mean, they will have conversations about all the different types of books. I have more, but that's my first one. Anybody else want to?
I think mine, that probably would have been one of my first ones too. I love Gibson's. It's great. I really am just kind of appreciating like the different vibes that all of our coffee shops offer. You walk into one.
Agreed.
And, you know, on a Saturday morning, and they have live music. They, you know, I just saw one recently up the street, William and Sons, actually, and they had a jazz trio in there, and there were people actually dancing in the middle of the coffee shop, which I feel like we never would have seen before, and that was so cool. You know, or you go into another one, and you know, you're going to see people who are in there on their laptops, which is great. You know, it's a great space to be able to go and get some work done. Or, you know, you might go to another one and it's, you know, you're going to have kind of a younger crowd of, you know, like your teenagers hanging out in there. But they're all a little bit different. And, you know, what's cool too is you can walk to each of them.
Yeah.
They're all within probably a half-mile radius of each other, which is kind of fun. So.
Yeah, Brothers Cortado's great because they don't give me a hard time when I ask for a pour over. So just not on Saturday mornings, I found out. So.
What's a pour over?
Oh, try it.
I'm a novice,
Yeah,
apparently.
you know, it's not a Doug's, but best coffee, obviously. Definitely a pour over. But yeah, I think Brothers Cortado's great. I love a good coffee shop, obviously. Foodies, there's good restaurants, and it's continuing to grow. You know, we got the Arts Alley that just popped up this past year by Sherry and her team there. And but yeah.
Yeah. So if you're looking for any of the three of you on a weekend, you know, that's where to go. If you need Shannon, go to Williams. If you need Katie, go to Gibson's. Yeah. Cool. Okay, great. And then I think this will maybe be the last question for the day. This is another question that I'm really excited to get into with guests when we have them. But to start with you guys, we're inviting here change makers, people who have people with vision, I think, people with long histories and great stories of where they came from, but also with vision of what is to come. And that's how many people who make history, whether it be small or large, get to where they are, is they have a sense of vision. So I'd love to know from you guys, what is a hope that you have for Concord going forward? It could be something really, it could be something very kind of big and emotional, or it could be like, we're missing a taco place or something. But like, what is something that you hope for Concord that is something that you want to see grow here in the future?
Want me to take it? I think I have the benefit of having grown up here. So I have seen, the city, and it's a city with a small town feel for sure, which is one of the best parts about being here. But I've seen it, go through these waves over the course of quite a few decades. But I really, in the past couple of years, have seen it sort of come to life. It's almost like it's like shedding its like, I don't know, whatever, and kind of just having like it's kind of a weird term, but like a rebirth in a way. Revitalization, I think, is probably a better word for it. So I think, I hope that this continues to be a place where people want to either return to or stay and really plant some roots. And also just a place where people can have small businesses that are supported by our community, and that they can continue to thrive. It's been really fun to see as people with these creative ideas bring these, storefronts and small businesses to life here. So that's my hope.
I think for me, it's broader, and I think it encompasses all of New Hampshire, and that's arts education and the funding that was cut from arts, because that was how I survived when I was younger, and that's ultimately what my first career was. So bringing that back and bringing back, the vitality of that within communities is the way to bond a community together. And that could be anything from, the education that we see in schools all the way up through adulthood and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think it's a community piece in total. I think it's just bringing attention to people, what we have to offer in this area, but, the great towns that also border Concord, and then also throughout the state if you go wider. But I think there's a lot that is here that people don't realize. And I know when I moved back, I've driven down Main Street hundreds of times, and I didn't know what was around. You walk on the weekends down here in the summertime, and people are up and down the street walking, going into shops and everything. And I think just bringing more attention to those people, and because they're community people themselves, and they want people in the area, and they want the tourism. But I think just to bring that people into their doors, it's going to help out a ton.
Totally. I want a dance floor. I want to dance.
And like a
That's
disco
my answer.
ball,
I want
right?
I want a disco.
Yeah. Oh, you want an actual disco?
Yeah. Yes. Come on, Concord.
And roller skates.
If anyone's listening, yeah, roller rink.
Yeah.
Honestly,
So there is a roller derby like team here. You would kick ass. You'd be good at that.
I don't think you've seen me try to balance on wheels. I don't know about that. But a disco,
That'd be
I
fun
want to
though.
dance.
Yeah.
God, I think it's harder than on ice.
I
Okay,
think you
cool.
should go talk to Sherry at Arts Alley about that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I can envision
That-
there being like a really cool dance area there.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yeah.
Friday night disco.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in downtown
disco
Concord.
underneath the stars.
Come on.
Mhm.
Let's
But
go.
they might be working on the Grand Ole Opry over there too now.
Ooh.
I think.
I think
And
you're onto
they're-
something though. Just go into the stars.
All right.
That's cool.
Okay, 6 months from now, 6th installment of this podcast, you're gonna hear about my Friday disco. That's what you're gonna hear about.
All right.
Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Challenge accepted.
We have anything
Make
else?
it happen. No, but it has made me realize you haven't introduced yourself.
Oh.
You're like a mystery voice. Who are you, Emma?
Hi.
And what brings you here?
Hi, I'm Emma. This is funny at the end. Should I edit this back to the beginning?
Maybe.
Maybe there's character in it being kind of a mystery.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Emma Cahoon, and you can't see me, but I guess I'm sort of producing this podcast in a way. I'm holding so many cables and mics, and I have headphones on my head. But I work with Real 603, sort of on the lifestyle brand end of things, helping to make content on social media that tells the story of the state. And we've been working together for a few months now. And this podcast is now a larger extension of that goal to kind of highlight what it is to be a New Hampshireite, which I have been my whole life and is one of my favorite parts about who I am, I think, is having grown up here. So that's me.
We're happy to have you here, Emma.
Hi, guys. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Roll the outro? Roll the outro.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Keeping It Real, 603 Stories. If you loved today's conversation, be sure to share it with someone who loves the 603 as much as we do.
Follow along for more behind-the-scenes stories from the Granite State's boldest thinkers and doers.
Until next time, stay inspired, stay grounded, and most of all, keep it real.